What's up people, JayDub here. As you may have noticed by the title of this video, I will be presenting my Fave 5 list of superstars in WWE. And just so you know, before we get started, I resisted every natural urge of mine to make a complete joke of this video and put like the whole damn roster in only 5 spots. So this video will be legit. This is a legit list, and yeah, not going the Booker T route, but shout out to you, Booker T. We're going to start off with number 5, Dolph Ziggler. I've known for years that Dolph was a great in-ring competitor, but for some reason, his personality never really matched up with his wrestling talent. There was this joke that I never said out loud, but I always used to think anytime I saw Dolph come down to the ring with Vicky Guerrero. You know how she gets on the mic and she's all like, excuse me, trying to get the crowd to stop booing her? Well, I used to say, Vicky, if you want the crowd to shut up, all you have to do is hand the mic to Ziggler. But Dolph's days of getting a muted response from the crowd are thankfully over. In addition to getting heat transferred from Vicky Guerrero, over the last few months he's worked hard to establish himself with the crowd and get over in his own right. Great in-ring performances, stellar selling ability, and a personality that is finally starting to be showcased with him getting more and more mic time. After his failed transformation into a creative wrestler from SmackDown vs. Raw, Ziggler has redeemed himself to become even more than what he was before. He's been working hard to add layers to his character and become more than just another generic cocky heel, and that hard work gets him the entry-level position in my Fave 5. The number 4 spot in my Fave 5 goes to Cody Rhodes. Just 1619 way back in January set Cody on a new career path that's still reverberating to this day. That one moment was a catalyst to convert Cody from dashing to demented, and he's been one of the more entertaining characters in WWE since. Have to admit that when Cody was in Legacy, I saw no potential in him whatsoever. I was one of the many people that threw him off to the wayside and said that Ted DiBiase was the king to be. I thought Cody was too small to be taken seriously, and there was nothing that stood out about him, but oh, how the times have changed. Starting with the dashing gimmick, it became less about the image of a superstar that we are conditioned to believe and more about the talent that he possesses. Too often in wrestling, we get a ton of guys who have nothing to offer but their last name. Cody, however, has actually worked to put distance between himself and his father's legacy, once proclaiming himself the uncommon son of a common man. So he's not leeching off of his family name, he's actually working to take it to even greater heights. Over the span of 2011, Cody has defeated a former world champion at WrestleMania, pinned a current world champion in feuds with Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton respectively. Those feuds feature a string of great matches, and if that wasn't enough, he also won his first singles title in WWE. This has undeniably been the best year of Cody Rhodes' career by far, and it's only the beginning. And if I was calling the shots, and by the way, I will be with the W's in a couple of weeks, I would say he has a compelling case to be Superstar of the Year. He may not be a main eventer quite yet, but he is well on his way, so I'd say, at the very least, shoe-in for most improved. He's not getting the level of heat that he deserves. Maybe it's because his gimmick went over some people's heads, but from my perspective, it's done great for him and also WWE as a whole. But very recently, Cody has dropped the mask and picked up a new gimmick in return. Some people may say, my co-host David from Pro Wrestling Talk Radio being one of them, that the mask gimmick was the only reason Cody stood out. Well, that's partially true, seeing as the gimmick was unique and it did set him apart from the pack, but it was his natural talent that drove the gimmick and made the character work. He has in-ring ability, mic skills, and the ability to facilitate a gimmick flawlessly. Cody Rhodes is the total package, and I see world titles in his future. Now, will this new gimmick be what leads him to the Holy Grail? Only time will tell, but for now, the number 4 spot in my Fave 5 will suffice. Now, if you're a regular viewer of mine, I don't even have to explain why this next dude is in my Fave 5, but I'm pretty sure I will need an explanation as to why he isn't ranked number 1. The number 3 spot in my Fave 5 goes to The Miz. Tons of people ask me why I'm such a big fan of The Miz, and the simple answer is, I watch wrestling to be entertained, and he's entertaining as hell. He has great mic skills and versatility to boot. He can be serious like he was during that promo where he talked about how he was banned from the WWE locker room, and like he was during WrestleMania season when he told The Rock, "You don't own John Cena, I do. Even in the midst of the John Cena and The Rock feud that would have overshadowed a lesser man, Miz carved out a nice place for himself with words and actions that show people why he should not be and would not be forgotten. He can be sadistic like he was when he attacked Khali with the steel chair. He can also make you laugh, annoy the hell out of you, and he can get you to hate him. And that's a very underrated quality in the wrestling landscape today, seeing as it's cool to cheer heels. Miz, he was headed along that same direction also near the midpoint of this year, but since then he's redeemed himself as a heel and solidified himself as one of WWE's top stars. Now let's address the whole Miz can't wrestle, Miz sucks in the ring farce, because that's exactly what it is, a farce. Even as a big Miz fan, I will be the first to admit that he's nowhere near a 5-star technical masterpiece. And is there a problem with that? Hell no. Let's face the facts. As much as a typical smark would like to disagree, there are a whole hell of a lot more wrestling styles than just mat technician and spot monkey. Different wrestling styles, different skill levels, and not everybody is supposed to be a Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, or Kurt Angle. There are many ways to find success out of the box people try to force superstars into, and Miz has done that. He's a solid in-ring competitor, and when in the right situations paired with the right people, he has the potential to deliver high-quality, exciting, and entertaining matches, such as his match with Randy Orton on a live episode of SmackDown, the first match of the year, John Morrison on Monday Night Raw, the Triple Threat Steel Cage match at Extreme Rules, the Tornado Tag match from June, and his match with Rey Mysterio for the vacated WWE Championship. 2011 has been all over the place for The Miz. He's experienced such great highs as cashing in Money in the Bank, winning the WWE Championship and successfully defending it in the main event of WrestleMania, and then lows like losing matches to his former lackey Alex Riley, but even that can be seen in a positive light if you look at it from the perspective of Miz is such a great heel that all of that heat that he had for himself, it translated into massive pops for Alex Riley, a character that fans didn't give a damn about until he started feuding with The Miz. He's no longer in title contention, but that doesn't mean he's not still a top star. He's in a very high profile tag team with R-Truth. They've been fired, rehired, orchestrated attacks on the likes of Triple H, CM Punk, and John Cena, all with much fanfare. The team has shown flashes of brilliance like their actions at Hell in a Cell, but because of WWE's bipolar booking, they've also displayed some glaringly disappointing moments, and that's why The Miz is not ranked number 1, because of inconsistency. I'm not on board with the bad booking of Awesome Truth, nor the cheesy antics at all, but don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they should just drop the funniness altogether, because that would be unnatural for both of them. But the thing is, there's a difference between telling a joke and being a joke. Once they strike that right balance and know the difference between the two, Miz, he could very well be back on his way to number 1 on my Fave 5, but knowing the two people who are standing in front of him, I don't think if they're going to give up their spots too easily. Runner-up spot on my Fave 5 goes to the world's strongest man and the current World Heavyweight Champion, Mark Henry. Never would I ever have imagined that I would be a Mark Henry fan, but something changed as he turned heel, moved over to SmackDown in a draft, and set into motion the biggest push of his career. Now, it wasn't the first push that Mark Henry has gotten in his 15 years in WWE, but thus far it has been the most consistent. Every so often, WWE would push Mark Henry and it would go absolutely nowhere. But as the months and weeks started to roll on, with this one, I could sense something different. It seemed serious. They didn't force him on us. They took their time with it, let it marinate, and Mark Henry slowly worked his way to a point of legitimacy by taking out some of the biggest guys on the roster. Best thing of all about Mark Henry is that he is convincing. When his theme music hits and it says somebody gonna get their ass kicked, I believe it. And even little things like how he walks, how he talks with conviction, like when he said, if I gotta pay a fine, everybody gotta pay. All of that stuff, it just adds up, accumulates, and accentuates his matches and adds stories and meaning to every single move he makes. That's what pro wrestling is about, and that's what Mark Henry provides. And even as he dominated his way up the card, it still seemed unbelievable that he would actually win the World Heavyweight Championship, but because he earned it, it happened. And that night after, when he was in the ring with JR on Raw and that promo he cut, perfection. Mark Henry has without question been one of the highlights of this year in wrestling, and I'm actually glad that I doubted that any of this was even possible, because it makes it all the more surprising and enjoyable. Had this list been made a while back, Mark would definitely have been number 1, but there's only one man in the world capable of dethroning him. Before I get to number 1, I have to give a shout out to everyone watching this video right now on PWFempire.com. What's up? But for all of you who are checking me out on YouTube right now and you've never visited the website before, PWF Empire is a brand spanking new wrestling news and opinion website where I am the editor-in-chief. In addition to providing pro wrestling news, the site also features content ranging from columns, exclusive videos, podcasts, and also live shows. It's my new home base and the place where you can check out Pro Wrestling Talk Radio and the exclusive home for the sideshow. So make sure you check out the Pro Wrestling Fan Empire where we rule. And now, for the number 1 spot in JayDub's Fave 5, this guy's had the win at his back for months. He's built insane momentum for himself, and it's only a matter of time before he captures his next world title. Who am I talking about? None other than the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus. His year didn't start out on the best of terms. Triple H came back and embarrassed the hell out of him. Then he went on a losing streak, losing matches to the likes of Evan Bourne. Then out of nowhere, he challenges for and wins the United States Championship. He was moved over to SmackDown and a couple of months later turned face and turned his career around. I was nervous about Sheamus turning face because he was just such a great heel and I didn't want WWE to ruin him when they already had a good thing going. But since then, he's proven that he can play both roles and not only just play the role, but do a great job at it. Sheamus' face turn and his ascension up the ranks since then has been nothing short of absolutely amazing. How many times have we seen in the industry guys with too many muscles and not enough talent? I'll answer that question for you. 2, as in too damn many times. I ain't gonna say any names, but there's a guy that fits that description to a T, getting the push in WWE right now. But with Sheamus, thankfully he breaks that trend. He's a near perfect mold of what a big guy should be. He has a unique and impressive look, he tough talks like a badass, and then he gets in the ring and backs it up with an in-ring intensity that's nearly unmatched in WWE today. What more could you ask for? Sheamus has been on such a great run and looks so impressive that I have to remind myself not to get too impatient with the inevitable world title reign. I always say criticize when necessary, but give credit where credit is due. Well, in this case, I have to give mad props to WWE and give them credit for their handling of Sheamus because it's been marvelous. This build towards him in this eventual climax. They aren't rushing anything, and that's great because they're doing things right this time. This is the way it's supposed to go. It's Pro Wrestling 101, and WWE passes the course with flying colors. And just so happens the current world champion is a seemingly unstoppable force that Sheamus has unfinished business with. Could we see another round of Clash of the Titans? And will Sheamus be the one to finally put an end to Mark Henry's run? We shall see, but for now, a winner has already been declared. Mark Henry, he may be the world heavyweight champion, but around this land here, Sheamus is the top dog. It would be great if I can get some video responses to this video with you guys giving me your fave 5s and letting me know why these people are on your list. That would be all great. And if not, just go ahead and leave your list down in the comment section below. And also feel free to complain about who I left off mine. Hell, I didn't even need to tell y'all that. Y'all are going to do it anyway. But thanks for watching this video. I am JayDub. Peace out. Damn, this list was tough to come up with. I hope I didn't forget anybody. Ooh, it's hot in here. I'm sweating. Oh. Yeah, I didn't forget anybody. This is perfect.